I don't like it when people say that white people are evil, because in a way you're saying that they're special, and that's giving them way too much credit. I will admit though, it's been a pretty good run for the whites, over 500 years of colonizing the rest of the world. But in 2026, everyone can feel that European dominance. It's coming to an end. And if I can be honest for a sec, as a brown dude, I'm low-key kind of enjoying the switch up. Some kind of Schadenfreude karma type shit. But being here in the Philippines, speaking English, spending my Western money, I can't help but feel like a hypocrite sometimes, because even though I'm Filipino myself, I still benefit from the same geographic privilege that white people enjoy. Can't believe I'm saying this, but I have sympathy for the white man. You know, when I was a baby, my grandma used to pinch my nose like this. It's a very common thing that Filipinos do to their children in the hopes that it raises their nasal bridge to look more Western. I think in my case, it worked a little too well. I mean, this is just a straight up Jewish nose. You see, most Filipinos have broad, flat noses, but hundreds of years of colonization leaves behind an inferiority complex where the colonized are so brainwashed that they want to start looking like their colonizers. You know, I tried looking for soap the other day and I couldn't find anything that didn't have skin whitening chemicals in it. I find it a little bit ignorant when people say that colonization is, ancient history, that it's irrelevant, doesn't affect us today. But dude, my grandma, who is still alive today, she was raised during American rule. That's entire generations of Filipinos that were raised being taught Western textbooks. They were made to memorize Shakespeare. They sang American pop songs. They dreamed of a white Christmas and they worshipped a blue-eyed Jesus. When I think of how white supremacy lives on today, I'm not just thinking of a bunch of incels on 4chan. If anything, I find those guys kind of funny.
I'm a white-ass nigga going hard as fuck.
I think of how Filipinos, even today, are still raised to humanize white people before they're taught to humanize themselves.
Tail of the tape for Feliciano Ledwaba against Manny Pacquiao. Pacquiao from the Philippines.
Here is the challenger, the former WBC Super Bantamweight World Champion, Manny Pacquiao.
One of the fondest memories I have growing up is sitting down with my dad to watch a Manny Pacquiao fight. It's really hard to describe to non-Filipinos just how much Manny Pacquiao means to this country. But never before have we seen a full-blooded Filipino elevated to global superstar status. Like, to give you perspective, whenever Pacquiao fought in his prime, the national crime rate here in this entire country pretty much went down to zero. Like, no thefts or murders, because every single citizen, like 100 million plus, tuned in on their TVs or gathered around in neighborhood watch parties. They all tuned in to watch one of their own reach heights that no other Filipino has, and arguably, to this day, still hasn't. And yet, he would have never reached those heights had his coach, Freddie Roach, a white man from America, not discovered him by chance and given him the resources and the connections to rise to the top, to become the world's first 8-division champion. It's a very tough black pill to swallow that the greatest Filipino athlete of all time wouldn't have made it had it not been for a white gatekeeper. There are 117 million Filipinos alive today, and if you were to measure their income level, they'd pretty much all fall below the poverty line for Western standards. As I walk these streets, I can't help but think of how many generational athletes we've missed out on because they didn't have the right nutrition growing up. They they didn't have access to coaches or pipelines to success. I think of how many songwriters didn't get to share their story or their perspective because maybe they didn't have a marketable accent or speak the right language. There are children of immigrant families today that are still discouraged from pursuing art because their parents and their parents' parents and their parents' parents' parents were so traumatized by the scars of generational poverty. I think Filipinos are actually a very creative people. I grew up with a lot of Filipino artists, and it always saddened me every time they gave up their dreams to pursue nursing or a boring corporate job. But given what we faced as a people, it's kind of hard to blame them for choosing the safe path in life. People love to believe that racial stereotypes are based in some kind of biological truth. We hear it all the time. But I recently visited my parents' hometown. It was the first time I'd been there in nearly a decade. And one thing that stood out to me was that I was no longer hype-mogging every dude around me. I was regularly seeing teenage boys standing at 5'10", 6 foot. They're getting tall in some provinces up in the Philippines. And it just goes to show you that when a nation slowly lifts itself out of poverty, when they can actually eat something other than rice and water, they're able to reach their genetic potential. The whole stereotype of the little Filipino, I think, is just a convenient excuse to sweep economic disparity under the rug. After all, it wasn't long ago that white people were some of the shortest people in the world. A lot of people don't realize that before Spain colonized the Philippines in the 1500s, they were a nation of broke farmers too. For 800 years, they suffered their own version of colonization by the African Moors and Muslim empires from the Middle East. White supremacy, it turns out, is just a blip on the radar of human history. I think the saddest thing about Western supremacy is that a lot of the people who uphold this belief today aren't even white. Sometimes it really do be your own people. I wish I could tell you that I'm a good person, that I want the best for the Philippines. And that's true, but there's part of me that loves my privileged position every time I come here. I walk around and I've got a certain aura. I feel it when I walk into a building. Last weekend, I went to a club in Poblacion and I felt like a 10 out of 10. Girls walked up to me and I didn't have to say a goddamn thing. They could see I was a foreigner. And I know that some of these girls just see me as a meal ticket, a green card, whatever, it's transactional. But I can't lie, it still felt good. I love the fact that I can get food delivered to me for pennies on the dollar. My doorman greets me sir and bows with obedience every time I step into my condo. Good morning, po! For perspective, the average salary for a dentist here is only $7,000 a year. There are days when I can generate more wealth just letting my money sit in the stock market. In other words, I can literally sit around all day, jack off, and make more money than a dentist makes in an entire year. I'm not saying any of this is right. I'm just saying what it is. And it's exactly why I said earlier that I have sympathy for the white man. Because if I can come to my own motherland, look at my own people living in literal dumps, and still enjoy the power, the ego boost, and the cheap labor, how the hell could I expect a European colonizer to think otherwise? That Western passport, man, it's a cheat code. And for a lot of my peers, they just accept it. We're rich, they're poor, and that's life. I could have made an aesthetic vlog for YouTube, show you all my highlights. Oh yeah, look at me in BGC, look at me in Palawan, but I don't know, man. Doesn't sit right with me sometimes. I see these people and I see myself in them. I could have been any one of them.
Is this vlogger?
Yes. What's your name?
It's Von.
Von? Like King Von?
Von! Yes.
Nice to meet you, man. I like your shirt, by the way. I made it a point to visit museums here to learn more about the country's national hero, Jose Rizal, the man that fought for independence from Spanish rule. What struck me was he wasn't some starving rebel. He was actually a rich kid. Born in 1861, he was in the 1% of his day, one of the few Filipinos who actually had the wealth to study abroad in Europe. And when he wasn't busy sleeping with white women, he used his family's money to learn about liberty and democracy, and then wrote novels with characters that highlighted the abuse of the Spanish government. It ultimately got him executed for treason, but his art transcended death to ignite a revolution. I find that compelling, because I'm the first in my family to have generational wealth. And while hedonism is fun, I want to use this privilege for something greater. I have no illusions to think that I'm going to be a martyr, but I'm starting to think I could be more like Jose. I want to make art that pushes my culture forward. And to look fly as fuck while doing it.
Just remember all caps when you spell the man name.
What up, gang? Thanks for watching my video just now. As you can tell, I'm back in Sydney. To my current subscribers, sorry for the wait on this video. I know it's been like almost 2 months since I last posted, but obviously I was overseas. While I was there, I wanted to capture my thoughts and yeah, create kind of like this monologue or video essay reflecting on me connecting to my roots. And the thing about me is I hate performance. I hate hypocrisy, and I know that I would have come off to a lot of you guys as like a complete fucking dickhead. You know, like, look at this privileged guy just walking around. But I gotta say, man, that's my authentic truth. You know what I mean? Like, I am a flashy person. I do care about material things, and I do play these status games. And for me to admit that, to not include that as part of my quote-unquote spiritual journey, that would be disingenuous. As I learn more about the history of my people and how oppressed they've been, you know, there is part of me that's like, man, I want to undo this. But then part of me is like, but I kind of like being at the top. You know what I mean? And that's an internal struggle that I'm dealing with, and something I'm gonna have to deal with for this foreseeable future. I feel like whenever minorities have this discourse on oppression or post-colonial legacies, it comes from this like language of victimhood. And I'll be honest with you, like that doesn't really resonate with me. You know, I'm the kind of person that I like to take agency over my life, and I have the privilege to be able to exercise that. If you're new to this channel, welcome. You can expect on this channel, I'm gonna call it a weird mix of like alternative vlogs / video essays, kind of like Anthony Bourdain if he listened to Playboy Cardi. Probably the best way to describe it. Anyway, thanks for watching. It's your boy. Peace.